This is a great day in DeKalb County, and before I say another word, I would like for all of us to show the men and women standing behind me on my left and right how much we appreciate them for keeping DeKalb safe and secure every day. Please, a round of applause. We thank you and we appreciate you. We appreciate your families who serve along with you. And I am convinced without any reservation that in DeKalb County we have the very best and the very brightest men and women who've answered the call to protect and to serve. I also want to recognize, before I go further, nothing happens in DeKalb County, whether you're CEO or whatever, without the support of our Board of Commissioners. We are a team, the governing authority works together. I'm so proud to have standing with me today Commissioner Lorraine Cochran-Johnson, please, Commissioner. As well as Commissioner Steve Bradshaw, Commissioner. I used to do this without notes, but I'm 67 now. Today, I am proposing to our Board of Commissioners to increase in various public safety departments and positions to increase and have an across-the-board salary increase of 4% for every sworn and unsworn DeKalb County employee who protects and serves our residents. This is a 4% increase that will become effective during the first pay period, January 2020. This is an ongoing effort to continue to, number one, reward the men and women who continue to serve our county, but more importantly, to make us a choice of first option for brave young men and women who want to pursue a career in public safety. The total value of this increase will be $5.4 million. And that is why it's important that Commissioner Cochran-Johnson and Commissioner Bradshaw are here today. I've spoken with Presiding Officer Jeff Rader. I'm asking that with this recommendation, this immediately is put on the agenda for our Board of Commissioners to be approved in December of this year so that this increase will be in the first paycheck 2020. This increase will apply to approximately 2,300 DeKalb County employees, and I want to list the different positions that will be impacted by this proposed increase. All police officers sworn, firefighters, E911 employees, medical examiner investigators, marshals, state and juvenile court probation officers, sworn enforcement officers, animal service officers, DeKalb Emergency Management employees, district attorney investigators, Solicitor-General investigators, all sheriff deputies, detention officers, and security technicians. Let's give them a round of applause. All. Working with our commissioners, this is the second year that we've done this. This was also done in the previous fiscal year because we know that public safety is not just a concern of the police department. We know that public safety is not just a concern of our district attorney's office. We know that public safety is not just a concern of the sheriff's office. It must be addressed holistically. Therefore, we need well-paid men and women in all of our offices and departments that deal with public safety because each and every one of these men and women are critical to our overall success. This salary increase, John Green, our county auditor, just applauded. Let's stop. Come on, John. Go ahead and give you applause. Always good to have the auditor applauding something you do. I'm just telling you. The salary increase will show our public safety employees that we value them. It's one thing for me to get out on the stump and say it, but when as a young politician, a former governor of Georgia said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, Mike, if you really want to know where a politician stands, you follow the money and you look at the budget. That's how you know what the priorities are. That is why we are proposing the 4% salary increase, and that's why before we submit any other request to the Board of Commissioners for this fiscal year, this is our #1 priority. As we think about public safety, we have to be reminded that there are a lot of the behind-the-scenes activities that keep public safety personnel and help them protect and serve our citizens. E911 employees often are the first responders because they receive the first calls in times of crisis and trouble. Our sheriff deputies serve warrants and take criminals off the street. The medical examiner investigators conduct crime scene investigations and crime reconstruction to help determine the cause of death. Our marshals serve various state and magistrate papers and enforce court orders. Our state court probation officers provide accountability to criminal offenders as well as resources to help them maintain lives that are within the law and not outside the law. District attorney investigators interview victims and witnesses and suspects and investigate and assist in the prosecution of criminal cases. A well-paid, well-trained, well-equipped public safety system is essential to keeping DeKalb safe. So with this, I'll stop. I want to once again thank the men and women who are here, but more importantly, I want to thank those who are on patrol as we speak. I want to thank those who are serving as we speak. And I want to renew our commitment and my commitment that my goal has been and will continue to be as long as I serve in this position, to have the best trained, the best equipped, and the best paid public safety personnel in any government in the state of Georgia. So with this, I will cease, and I would like to ask Commissioner Cochran Johnson first to come and say a few words on behalf of the commissioners, to be followed by Commissioner Steve Bradshaw. Cochran Johnson.
First and foremost, let me say thank you to our CEO, Michael Thurmond, for his vision. It is an honor to be here today to announce this pay increase. I think we all understand throughout the community the importance that public service brings to us, from economic development to individuals who are on the front line, who secure our community. So I am excited and I'm proud to be a part of an administration that has planned in such a way that we are able to provide pay increases, because things haven't always been as they are now. So it is through vision, and you can everyone in this room can expect my support on this legislation. And to those who protect and serve us, this is just a small token of what I would like to see continually happen over the course of the next few years, so that we do have the most competitively paid individuals here in DeKalb County to secure their positions. So thank you so much again for being a part of this.
Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm honored to stand with CEO Thurmond this morning as we take this critical next step in enhancing the compensation for our public safety personnel. As I've said in many forums on many occasions, while the rest of us run away from danger, these brave men and women run toward danger for our collective safety and protection, and we appreciate that. And this pay raise is just one small example of us showing our appreciation. And yes, I will absolutely support this legislation when it comes up on our agenda. I commend CEO Thurmond for his leadership on this front. Likewise, I commend Director Lumpkin, Chief Ramos, Chief Fulham for their service and leadership, and all of the men and women standing behind us. And I thank you all for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson, Commissioner Bradshaw. And now, on behalf, and we need to hear from the people on the front line, and I think it's more than appropriate. And at this point, I would like to introduce, and I always say it because I'm proud of it, a man I've admired since I was a little kid growing up in rural Clark County, Georgia. You hadn't heard the story. His first beat, his first job as a rookie cop was patrolling the hallways at Clark Central High School in Athens, Georgia, where I was a senior. His first day on the job was trying to keep me in line. And it was interesting, and for you all, law enforcement, and for those who starting out a career, you never know, right? That kid who grew up to be the CEO, right? And the thing about it, when I was there, when Officer Lumpkin would come down the hall, someone would always alert us that Jack Lumpkin is coming, Jack Lumpkin is coming. And so we'd run in the classroom, duck behind the hallways, and then when he'd go by, we'd go back to doing the stuff that we were always doing. So shortly after I appointed him as the Director of Public Safety, he came up on the 6th floor, and I think it was Nicole called out and said, "Director Jack Lumpkin is on the hallway." Well, I ran in my office, and then I said, "Look, wait a minute." But no, one of the things he said to me when we were trying to recruit him from Savannah, he said, "I'll come, but you have to commit to making the necessary investments to support the men and women in uniform through salary and compensation." And that was a commitment I made to him and Director Lumpkin. I hope and pray that you can now state that I'm fulfilling our commitment to them, to the men and women, and to you. So, Director Lumpkin.
Thank you very much, Mr. CEO and Board of Commissioners. On behalf of the fine men and women of the Public Safety Department, the 6 different departments, and the sheriff and others will speak to the other public safety departments, we really appreciate your leadership, your transformational leadership of the CEO, Michael L. Thurmond, and our Board of Commissioners. Transformational leadership is what the CEO has always been about, changing things for the better. We have been able to do significant things in DeKalb County because of these men and women that are here. Not only in staffing, and we appreciate those great raises that you have brought to the table that have allowed us to reverse the net loss of police officers and some of the loss that we were having in other departments. We went through a period of years where each year we had less staff than we had January the 1st. It's like a bank account, people. You can't afford that. If you don't deposit, you can't withdraw. So we did last year hired 123 police officers. The fire hired similar, and Chief Fulham will speak to that. The investment that you all have made in technology makes these men and women more efficient and effective. The transformational leadership training that you have invested in DeKalb, men and women throughout the public safety, will make them better leaders for the future. What the CEO, in my opinion, and what the Board of Commissioners have done is they planted seeds here. Now, many of us won't see those trees that future generations will enjoy the shade of those trees. That's what we should do as leaders. We should prepare our communities for the present and also the future. Those seeds will continue to germinate. Those seeds will continue to grow those trees. And the future generations will enjoy that. Now, we're not waiting for the future because, for instance, the police department has a 13% reduction in violent crime this year. It also has a 14% reduction in property crimes for this year. 911 communication is at full staff. For the first time for many years, it couldn't get there, but the raises made it competitive. And we have the busiest, most voluminous 911 center in this state. Not per capita, but in this state. And you know what has been done in the fire service, and the chief will speak to some of that, but all of those investments in leadership that you have made, from the rapid response vehicles to the tiered system of responses, to we're providing world-class EMS responses. And the professionals know that. With that, we're going to have some real details by Chief Ramos. She's going to escalate what we have accomplished so far, because we have great confidence in her, and the change, the momentum. Come on up, Chief. She will keep that momentum going. Chief Fulham will follow her, and Director Mooneyham will follow him. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I want to take a moment to thank the Board of Commissioners and CEO Thurmond for not only acknowledging the importance of public safety, but showing it by the proposal of this pay increase. Studies have shown that happier employees provide better service. So as of January 2020, you'll have a lot more happier employees. So on that note, I also want to take the opportunity to say that if there's anybody out there who wants a career where they can make a difference, DeKalb County Police Department is hiring, and we would love to have you. I look forward to seeing you.
Well, good morning. First, I have to thank the CEO for his vision and leadership and this tangible support of public safety. Over the last year and a half, there's been a over $5 million investment to revamping and re-envisioning our EMS system. We've also have $41 million that's been allocated to replace our fire stations. So it's We've seen decreases in our response time as we use analytics to determine the best way to respond to our community. And this is really, in my mind, a capstone to this year. Having this pay increase, the men and women who are out there on the streets, over 650 of them that respond to fires, to EMS calls, to any type of call, this is what they want to see. This is the tangible support of those men and women. I thank you. And as Chief Ramos said, the fire department is hiring as well. So if that's not the job for you, the fire department's here. Thank you.
You're not director.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're the chief.
Yes, sir.
Say it out. Just explain it.
I was promoted earlier this month to assistant chief over E911. Thank you. Good morning.
Morning.
On behalf of the women and men of DeKalb County E911, I would like to thank CEO Thurmond and the Board of Commissioners for their strong support of public safety. I cannot stress enough how important these pay raises are. We've seen over the last 3 years as these pay raises continue that we've been able to retain employees, we've been able to hire. I'm very happy to report that as of December 16th, when we start our 5th 911 Academy of the year, we will be at full staff. We will also be requesting 15 additional positions in the 2020 budget. And we would love to have more recruits if you don't want to be police or fire.
We're talking to
Thank you.
And now I'd like to ask our newly anointed and appointed sheriff, a young woman I've known for many years, an outstanding public service professional, a history maker as well, DeKalb County Sheriff, Melanie Maddox.
Good morning. Good morning. First of all, let me say thank you, Mr. CEO. We're so excited, and to the Board of Commissioners, the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office greatly appreciate this great news, and it's very good for me coming in. So this is something that I worked on. I told them I was working on from day one when I stepped in as the chief deputy, and as a 26-year veteran, a law enforcement officer, I'm very familiar. For those that don't know, the Sheriff's Office is responsible for the administrative court and jail division. So you have a facility over there right now that's housed at 1,635, maximum at 3,900. In order to keep that low, we have to make sure that we have qualified, highly qualified individuals that walk in excellence and know how to operate in excellence, because nothing comes before the welfare, care, and concern of the citizens. And I want to make sure that I am able to use this so that when I personally go out and recruit, that we can say that we have the best on our team at the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office. Yeah. Let me just let you know that those deputies, I see a couple here, go out every day, as well as the other officers that stand behind me and put their lives on the line to make sure that all the citizens are safe, but to also make sure that they are okay once they are housed in the agency. But the DeKalb County Sheriff's Office execute the murder warrants, we have a 98% clearance rate. And it's because these individuals walk in excellence. And that's what I want to make sure that we continue to do. So I'm truly excited, and we are hiring. So we have detention officers, technicians, and you can personally come and see me, and I'll make sure that you get in the door and make sure that we have qualified individuals. But I also want to thank those officers and individuals that stand behind me, because it's because of them that I am where I am and that you are where you are, to make sure that we're safe. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity, Mr. CEO, Board of Commissioners, and as well as the other agencies. The officers here. Thank you so much, you all.
Now I'd like to ask our Solicitor-General, a young lady that I've known since she was a little girl, literally. Father and I are great friends, but she's doing a phenomenal job, and the focus that we work together on, the focus on reducing and eliminating domestic violence in DeKalb County, she has led that effort, not in my DeKalb. So our Solicitor-General, the Honorable Donna Coleman-Stribling.
I feel like I should start off by saying I'm hiring, but but I'm not. And that is because of what you've led here. And I want to personally thank you, Mr. CEO, as well as the Board of Commissioners, because this Monday, one of the investigators started with my office. And they are specifically located at South Precinct to address the concerns, secondary issues and concerns with domestic violence. And it is because of the work. It's because of this type of leadership. It is because you've put public safety first. It's because the citizens of DeKalb County come first, and you've told us that this is important. So we certainly want to thank you, and thank you for this leadership. Thank you for this vision. Thank you for always recognizing us, because a lot of times we get lost in what is the solicitor's office, what do you do, what type of role do you hold, and to recognize that I do have investigators in my office who also go out on the scenes or respond after the cases have occurred and re-interview witnesses and things of that nature. And to recognize that they also deserve a raise is important. So thank you. Thank you.
I spoke with our illustrious DA, Ms. Sherry Boston. She is at a district attorney's conference in North Carolina, could not be here, but she sent her able assistant DA to be with us today. So please come on up. We appreciate it. Give her a hand, please.
Good morning. I'm Chief Assistant Jennifer Stolarski, and I am pleased to be here on behalf of District Attorney Sherry Boston, who wants very, very strongly to express her deep gratitude to CEO Thurmond and the Board of Commission for this pay increase. Your vision and your leadership to extend and to create an expansive vision for public safety is so important in our community. I think you hear that echoed by all of us here. That has not been recognized in the past, and it's exciting for all of us who work within public safety to be a part of that. So thank you for that. This helps us in our collective efforts to recruit and retain the best of the best. And that is what our county and our community needs. All of us who work in public safety strive for that. And while we are not currently hiring, we are retaining, and it is important to retain. And in the district attorney's office, where we're dealing with murders and human trafficking and rapes and child molestations, we see the worst of the worst, and that requires the best of the best to be working in our office. We have 46 post-certified investigators who work closely with our law enforcement partners. They take these cases from arrest and they build upon them and they strengthen them and they carry them through the finish line for successful prosecution outcomes. They work hard, and while 46 is a small number in comparison to the 2,300, they are a mighty and phenomenal group. They are the best of the best, and we want to retain them. And so we thank you because this helps us to do that. Competitive compensation is important to the overall public safety ecosystem. So thank you so much, CEO Thurmond, and thank you to the Board of Commission.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. Now, it's a family, it's a process, it's a system. So Chief Hopkins, if you will come forward from our probation office to help us understand that when men and women go through the system and come back to the real world, they work every day to make sure they remain law-abiding citizens. So this is an important component of that process. Chief.
Thank you, sir. Mr. CEO, Board of Commissioners, and all the fine leaders that stand behind me, it's my pleasure to get the opportunity to get to serve with this group of people. I would say with no uncertain terms that the court system is in good shape right now. We serve approximately 12,000 plus individuals that go through the court system. And what we found out is when we out in that community and we're knocking on the door and we're looking at it from a holistic approach to the family, what they're saying is, hey, Mr. Hopkins, the police officer treated me well. The courts treated me well. You guys treated me well. So with that being said, we just got our state audit from the Department of Community Supervision. And I'm glad to tell you today, because of the 35 men and women in probation that served 12,000 cases. And that consists of 7 state court judges, 10 superior court judges, and traffic division. That audit says, Mr. Hopkins, your department have no high liability errors in your department. Yeah. We stay focused on meeting people where they are. I tell the staff all the time, we got one shot every time the individual come to see us. And that one shot gives us an opportunity to change the behavior of that person so the men and women that's on the street don't have to deal with them anymore. We're committed to changing and closing those doors of recidivism. We on the right road. And because of those 35 men and women, along with those 9 admin staff, we do a phenomenal job. And that's because of the vision of the CEO. I told him yesterday when I spoke to him on the phone, because of his holistic approach to pulling everybody together at the table, that means everything to our community. When everybody's walking in unison, we can move miles and move mountains. Individually, we'll succeed. But when we walk together, we'll have a better DeKalb County. And it's showing today because of what you're seeing and the words that people have already said before me. I would say, before I get back with these fine men and women, we hiring 2, we got 2 positions. But the goal for us is to get a good outcome every time we deal with individuals. Today, I will say, today's a good outcome. Not necessarily for our citizens, not necessarily say for our defendants, but our men and women. It's every 2 or 3 times a week, staff come in my office, we talk about, hey, Chief, how am I gonna pay this bill? How am I gonna do it? I say, stay the course. We got visionaries in the county gonna supply our needs. So just stay the course. And Mr. CEO, I thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr.
for applying our needs.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Thank you. A long-time DeKalb County employee, a person who's worked hard in the Marshals office, our chief. Come up, Chief. Chief Berkowitz, who does an outstanding job for DeKalb County. Come on, sir.
Appreciate it. Good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank Mr. CEO and the commissioners for recognizing the hard work and devotion of not only our deputy marshals, but all these outstanding emergency personnel behind me. It never ceases to amaze me the incredible hard work and devotion that our deputies do in performing their duties. They put their lives on the line every day, and they do so with compassion and devotion to their duty. And again, it never ceases to amaze me the incredible work that they do. This salary increase will help us with retention, it'll help us with recruitment, and it'll bring us closer to the pay of our counterparts in the local area. So thank you, Mr. CEO, for being a man of action and being a man of your word, and thank you to the commissioners. And also, in keeping with the job fair theme, we also are hiring, and if you want to join our smiling faces, then send your resume to us. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Appreciate it, sir.
Last year, and you know, we learn, and sometimes I make mistakes. And one thing I overlooked last year when we were announcing this pay raise, there's a group of men and women who are also helping us in a very fundamental way to keep DeKalb County safe. Over the last 2 years, we've abated or demolished over 400 derelict units in DeKalb County, Georgia. And you all know that, and these men and women will tell you behind me, dilapidated housing is a magnet, is a cesspool for crime and drugs and prostitution and all type of behaviors. And we've had these structures all over DeKalb County that just stood for years. Well, this man, Mr. Tim Hardy from Code Enforcement, is with us today. I apologize, I missed you last year, but I got you this year, brother, to come forward. And let's get him around, because they have done a phenomenal job of helping us to move these.
Good morning. My name is Tim Hardy, and I have the privilege of being the Deputy Director for the DeKalb County Code Compliance Administration. And I bring you greetings from that 62-member agency, which 50 of them are sworn officers. When I started just a little over a year ago, I was wondering how the whole thing would play out early on. And continuously, the CEO, and thank you again, has demonstrated he will provide the resources that we need for our enforcement activities. One of my favorite saying of his is, money's not our problem anymore. So as a result, we've been able to, as he mentioned, abate or demolish more than 450 units here in DeKalb. Our proactive multifamily and hotel motel enforcement unit continues to be a model for Metro Atlanta. I get calls all the time wondering how we do what we do, and I'm happy to kind of give them the roadmap. But none of this would be possible without the guys that actually got men and women that actually report to me on a daily basis. And as the commissioner said, last year, right after I started to get a lot of visits to my office, and they were wondering, well, why were we overlooked in the pay raise for public safety officers and sworn officers? And the last question I'd always get asked, well, what are we going to do about it? So what I tell them is that we're going to make sure that they don't ever forget us again by the way we approach our work. And I think that is shown in the past year. So again, this pay raise that's proposed shows that they are appreciated, and that's one of the messages that I'll take back to them is that, hey, look, they didn't forget us this time, they won't ever forget us again, and you are appreciated. So thanks again. Oh, one more thing. We're hiring.
And finally, most of this, and the people you talk to are the men and women who engage adults who enter the system. But let me tell you, the way for us to really win is to divert young people who may have made a mistake away from the system. And so we're proud that to have the chief judge of the DeKalb Juvenile Court here. They play a critical role in allowing youthful offenders or young people who may have found themselves in difficult situations to take advantage of a second chance opportunity. So the more successful the chief judge is, the less work we have to do on the backside. So Chief, come on up and say a word. Give the judge a hand.
I'm Chief Judge Vincent Crawford, DeKalb County Juvenile Court. Our DeKalb communities of tomorrow are a reflection of how we treat our children today. On behalf of the 36 juvenile court probation officers, sworn probation officers, the court would like to thank you and the Board of Commissioners for this pay increase. Again, we have lost, I call it a brain drain, with our probation officers to other counties due to pay increases or income that they could get somewhere else, and they've left DeKalb County. And so now we are able to retain those probation officers. So you ask why our probation officers? They're sworn probation officers, and we are an independent court, which means the county finance our probation officers here in DeKalb County Juvenile Court. And on any day, any given day, you will find our probation officers in the home. We had an incident previously where our probation officers had a young man that was acting out under supervision. Parents called, and to divert a situation with his parents, they went out at 7 o'clock in the evening, went into the home, divert the situation, got the young man and the parents at the courthouse the next day, put some counseling in place. Right now, today, we have school-based probation officers. They're right now in DeKalb County schools, diverting some young person from leaving school and getting out and going into the streets. We know if they're in the streets, they're not reading Shakespeare, they're getting involved with crime. So therefore, they're diverting them from getting involved with crime. And also, our probation officers are out in the community on a daily basis looking for those young people that didn't come home the night before, or those young people that did not attend school. And when they're successful with our truancy program, they're successful with our close to $4 million in grant money that we get. And that money is used mainly by our probation officers in referring kids. So to the commissioners and to our CEO, Mr. Thurmond, thank you. Thank you so much on behalf of Juvenile Court, because we definitely needed this money to help us retain our probation officers. Thank you all.
All right, thank you, Chief. Chief Crawford, thank y'all so much, and thank you for being patient, but part of this is educating the citizens of DeKalb County, the taxpayers, to help us see, as Chief Hopkins spoke to, a more holistic understanding as to how we progress our county to keep it safe and secure. And finally this, thank you. The CEO by charter is imbued and has responsibility for many things. And consequently, of all the things I'm responsible for and to and by, the most sobering and ominous responsibility I have is to every day, 24/7, send men and women like these into harm's way, to put their lives on the line, to keep us safe and secure. There's nothing more sobering or challenging than that. And the best I can do is first to pray for your safety and your security, but also to do everything within my power, along with our commissioners, to give you the resources needed to get this very difficult job done. So thank you again, and be safe. God bless you.